Today, as we multiply and divide fractions, we're going to find it a lot easier than when we add and subtract fractions because it's a lot less work involved. So that is a great reason to celebrate today's video. Now, the biggest difference to me when multiplying and dividing fractions is that we do not have any common denominators to worry about. So if they're different, it doesn't matter. We're just going to go straight into multiplying and do exactly what it says. So when you're multiplying, you have two options to consider. We're going to do the first option with our first example, and that says that we're going to be multiplying straight across and then simplifying at the end if possible. So what I mean by straight across multiplying, we're going to look at our numerators. We have 2 and 5. We're going to multiply those together. 2 times 5, that is 10. Same thing with the bottom. In the denominators, I've got a 7 and a 3. We're going to multiply straight across. 7 times 3 is 21. Now, as far as simplifying goes, you're looking to see if they have any common factors. 10 and 21 do not have any common factors. So that means that we are finished with this problem, and we can go ahead and circle it. Always check to see if you can simplify at the end. Now, option number 2, I call this the cross-cancel method. So we cross-cancel first and then multiply straight across. Let me show you what I mean by cross-canceling. We're going to look diagonally. So let's take a look at 12 and 16 and compare them. Are there any common factors between 12 and 16? There are a couple, but the largest one is the one we're interested in, and the largest one is 4. So I'm going to take 12 and divide it by 4, and when I do that I get 3, and 12 does what I call cancels out. So I've canceled out my 12 and replaced it with a 3. I'm going to do the same thing with 16. 16 divided by 4 is 4. Let's look the other way at the other diagonal. Do 15 and 35 have a common factor? Yes, they do. It is 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 35 divided by 5 is 7. So that is the cross-cancel part. Now it's time just to multiply like we did for our first example. 3 times 3 is 9. 7 times 4 is 28. And even though I've multiplied, I am going to check to see if they have a common factor, because sometimes I may not find the biggest factor when I'm doing all my cross-canceling, and if I don't, then I'll have to simplify at the end. Now if we look at 9 and 28, neither one of those has a common factor with the other, so that means I found pretty good factors here when I cross-canceled, and I do not have to simplify my answer. So 9 over 28 is the final answer. Division can be just a little bit more complex, but there's a few steps that we have to remember in a process that I like to call keep, change, flip, or KCF for short. Alright, now the keep part in step 1 says that we're going to keep the first fraction the same. So this 24 over 15, we're not messing with it. Write it down exactly as you see it. Step 2, the change part means we're changing the division of the problem into multiplication. So no more divide sign, here's a multiply sign. Step 3, we are flipping the second fraction for the F part. So what that means is we are going to make 12 over 25 and change it into its reciprocal. So 25 becomes the new numerator. 12 becomes the new denominator. And step 4 says multiply. Now I could use either option 1 or option 2. I'm going to use option 2 because these numbers are kind of big, and the cross-cancel method is really nice if you have bigger numbers. So let's look diagonally first at 24 and 12. The largest factor for 24 and 12 is 12. So 24 divided by 12 is 2. 12 divided by 12 is 1. Let's look at 15 and 25. Their only factor they have in common is 5. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Last part of this will be to actually multiply the numerators and the denominators. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 1, 3. 10 over 3 does not simplify. There are no common factors, so we are finished. Okay, now use these steps, and I want you all to try the next example. Pause it, come back in a few seconds, we'll check our answers together. Here is my keep change flip. I'm going to do the multiply process next. Once again, I used the cross cancel method. 49 and 35 are both divisible by 7. 49 divided by 7 is 7. 35 divided by 7 is 5. 9 and 18 are divisible by 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1. 18 divided by 9 is 2. When you multiply straight across, we're going to get 7 tenths. 7 tenths does not reduce, and we are done. And that will do it for today's video.